Hello, Scribblers. I'm Katie, the founder and CEO of the Scribblers Den, your online source for writing craft courses and writing community. We're excited to be back with another guest. Today, we have the amazing and fantabulous McKayla Rockwell. McKayla is a born and bred Youngstonian, that's Ohio, for those of you who don't know. She earned her master's degree in English in 2022 from Youngstown State University, where she adjuncted before becoming an adult education instructor at NCUS. She's been an editor for Volney Road Review, Jenny Magazine, and Penguin Review, and has led several community writing groups over the years. She's passionate about helping others improve their writing skills in their academic and creative spheres. She writes fantasy fiction, autofiction, and poetry, and her work has been published in journals such as Petrichor and Mistake House. Thank you for joining me today. It's so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so and again, Scribblers, like this is always like my disclosure. I feel like I have to like make sure I'm not getting one over on anybody. McKayla is a member of the writing group I'm a part of, and so like we've known each other for a couple of years, and she is just one of the most absolute wonderful people. And she like I feel like you keep our group grounded sometimes. Like we'll get
Oh,
bonkers, and you're like, all right, and you're just like so it's very soothing sometimes like when you'll like enter the conversation and you just kind of like soothe us all. It's very nice.
oh, that's so sweet of
Yeah,
you.
so
Thank you.
I appreciate that. um so I know I've really found my writing community over the past few years, and I know you have as well, and we're part of each other's community like I just said. So what are your thoughts on why just having a writing community is so important?
Um, for me, it's always been a sense of accountability because as you know, I'm notorious for not writing and just falling off track with whatever project I'm working on. Um, but that's really where my personal why I need to be part of a group comes from is like I have to have other people who would tell me to sit down and write, or they're excited to read my work, or they have some way to motivate me. Um, I know for some of our other friends, they started joining writing groups because they were looking to grow personally as a writer. They wanted
Hmm.
to get better at it. They wanted to learn more about it. And education through college or through workshops or classes just weren't necessarily something they had access to or something they cared to do. So they went the writing community route. Because you would be surprised the resources that you can find in our little writing groups around
It's
here,
amazing.
especially in this area. I know for another one of our friends online, she really wanted to be part of a writing group because she lives in a more rural part of the country. And she didn't have anybody around her to talk about writing. So we started an online group with her. And it's been really important for her to stay motivated to keep writing. So I think there's lots of reasons why it's important. But in general, just having a sense of, there's other people out here that are doing the same thing I'm doing, who are putting themselves out there, who are facing the same struggles I'm
Yeah.
facing as a creative, and they get it. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. No, and I think that like I really like how you started with the accountability piece, because I know that that's been a huge thing for me. And I was writing on my own, and then I started finding community, and you guys always get me through those rough spots of like I just don't feel like, and you're like let's just do 10 minutes or let's just do this, and randomly, because we all live in the same area, we'll just send a text, be like, I'm going to be here writing today, or I had you guys over to
Mhm.
my house a couple times so we could write, and it helps to have those people around you being like, you should do that, and getting you motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. There was that one time not too long ago where you really helped me through a rough spot where I was trying to write a scene that I just could not get down. It was driving me crazy. I wasn't moving forward. I was
Mhm.
stuck on it for like 3 weeks. And then I came to that one guild meeting and you told me just write the dialogue. And it sounded so simple when you
Did
said
I
it. And I
say
was
that?
like,
Cool.
yeah. You're like, just write the dialogue. Don't worry about anything else. It doesn't have to be good dialogue.
Yeah.
And it was so simple and mind blog boggling. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? But it
Wow.
helped. It helped so much, and it is such a fun scene now. It's one of my favorites.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's so important for that. It's just, to recognize that there's going to be people who have been right where you're at,
Mhm.
and they're a different set of eyes. They can help you through your different writing
Right.
goals, and they'll be there to support you and make sure that you're going through the emotions too.
Yeah, and also I think just that sometimes somebody will say something like, I don't even remember this, but apparently I said that to you. Um, but why, and like it's like, why didn't you think of that? But you were so focused on what you were trying to do that you couldn't see past it. And I know I've been there. I'm like, this is what I have to do. I'm trying to do this. And I need somebody on the outside to just be like, whoa, step back and let's be clear about this instead of, just blinded by everything happening.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So can you take us through your own journey of discovering your writing community? Because I know that you've had others in the past and like this has been a journey to get here, right? So how long has it taken? And what have been some of the ups and downs?
I feel like it took me a very long time to get where I'm at now with my writing community. It really started in college. I knew that I was going to go my bachelor's in English. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with that yet, but I knew I liked writing at this point. Um, and I purposely would go into my fiction writing classes and my creative writing courses, and I would seek out people who I thought would be good for me, that would help me become a better writer. And that resulted in me meeting some of my closest friends even to this day. And actually, it resulted in me meeting my fiance, um, because he was taking the same courses.
That's like such like meet cute goals, I think, for every person. We're like, we just want to go to like that quiet little like writing cafe or whatever, and like that's where we meet our person because we both love the same things.
Right. I mean,
That's amazing.
it worked out
Yeah.
fantastically. Yeah, and I mean, he was one of the people who immediately stood out to me because of how he spoke up in class. And I was like, oh, I looked at him and I looked at one of his friends who now is like one of my closest friends, Dom, and one of our other friends, Shannon, and they were all speaking up to each other. And I very clearly remember our department chair coming in the room and looking at the three of them and going, "Oh, there's trouble," you know?
And you're like, those are the people I want to be with.
Yes, exactly. I was like, all right, that's it. Those are my people. And I sat next to them. I started talking to them. It resulted in us staying, because we all worked in the same department too. And so it resulted in us hanging out in the hallway while one of us was working our shift, and we would all just chit chat about writing, about ideas, about all types of different things. And that eventually led to Dom and Nate starting Volney Road Review, which is a local magazine that um, they published and they published short works, short stories, fiction, nonfiction, poetry, art, and they were really big on paying artists for their work.
Very cool.
Yes, and it got very big. It was to the point where we were getting like thousands and thousands of emails
Oh,
every
wow.
submission period. Yeah. And eventually, I believe it was after their first issue that they brought me on as an assistant editor, where I was just helping out with the odd and end things,
Mhm.
helping to figure out which pieces to publish. And um, that is really my first memory of a writing group that I feel like I really grew from.
Yeah.
And obviously, I still benefit from. Um, and then from there, I went on to become part of Quill, which is YSU's writing group, Youngstown State. And they're just a little writing group. They were open to the public at the time. So we had different members. That's actually where I met RW.
Okay.
And so we've known each other for a while. I just realized that. Um, and it's so funny because at some point I became the leader of this group as part of an internship I was doing.
Mhm.
And it was a little rocky at times. I had people from all over the group that I wouldn't necessarily consider close friends, but I was happy they were there. And then I had people who were at all different levels of
Yeah.
writing. And we were particularly a critique group. So somebody would bring in a piece every week and we would sit down and we would critique it. Um, and then eventually I moved on from that and somebody else took it over. And of course, me and RW stayed friends and thank God for that sometimes.
RW was
Um,
amazing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when she and I first met, she was looking to me almost as like a mentor figure where she really wanted to learn more about
Yeah.
writing and become a better writer. And I mean, I was in college and I had been doing the whole writing thing for a little while at that point.
Mhm.
So she was looking to me for advice. And over the years, I've watched her grow so much that now it's reciprocal. It's like we're depending on
Mhm.
each other.
That's so
Um,
cool when you get to have a relationship with that because like the ideal writing group that you find for yourself should have people like slightly ahead of you, slightly behind you, and kind of on your own level so that you can learn, you can help other people, and then you can also just like you said like that reciprocal thing, and know that. And so I think that's awesome how you like got to watch her grow, and then now like you're on equal footing, and that's so cool.
right. Yeah. No, she's fantastic. And I am just, I am every day just so grateful that she is in my life.
Same. I'm
Um,
going to give a shout out to RW right now because she is not a Taylor Swift fan, and she let me drag her to the Life of a Showgirl movie this morning. So she sat with me through the hour and a half. She's not like not a fan, but she's just also not a fan. So she had no clue about anything, and she was amazing. And I'm like, this is what friendship is. Um, right here when you can
oh my
drag
gosh.
like a non-Swiftie into that. So shout out to RW for that.
Seriously. Yeah. She's
That's the
great for
kind of
me.
person she is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, once I moved on from Quill, it was um I went through my master's program and
Mm,
that was very time consuming and I really did not put a lot of effort into writing at that point. I kind of took a hiatus from it and I knew at that point I was not going to be doing creative writing or editing as a full-time career.
mm,
Um, so I was really focused on more of the academic side of writing and becoming a teacher. And then once I graduated, I immediately was like, all right, I have to get back into this. This is part of who I am. Um, so I took a like a it was almost like a study abroad trip to Greece with some friends who I'd met in the program, and
yeah.
we it was all about writing. It was you took writing workshop in the morning, and then in the rest of the day you got to spend either writing or you would go on an excursion or
This
you
sounds
know,
so fabulous.
oh, it was wonderful. It was like the best 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
I
didn't,
really
and I did not know any of this. So I feel like I'm getting like the deep McKayla lore right now. And I am invested. I want to know. Okay, so Greece. We're going to talk more about this the next time that we get together, but
yes.
continue.
Greece, it was like the first time I was on an airplane, first time out of the country. I was going with my best friend Cassie, and she really has become a huge part of my writing journey as well. I met her in my master's program, and we immediately clicked, and people kept telling us before we met that we should be friends because we
Mhm.
both wrote fantasy. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of people in the master's program that did creative writing, especially for fantasy.
Yeah.
So I clearly remember sitting next to her in one of our teaching classes, and I was like, "Oh, so you're the Cassie everybody's been talking about."
You.
Right. And we hit it off immediately. And still to this day, we regularly chit chat about everything from writing, crochet
Mm.
to life. I mean, she's one of my most favorite people. Um, and that kind of leads to where we are today, where around the time she ended up moving away, um, which we're still, really well
Yeah.
connected. So. she ended up moving away. And then I was looking for more writing groups to get involved. And that's when the Youngstown Guild started up.
Yeah.
And the Youngstown Guild was really interesting to me because it was just unique. I've never heard of something like that where it wasn't a critique group. It was more like just hang out with other writers
Mhm.
and write while you do it. So again, that accountability piece comes in for me where it's like, all right, I actually have a set time twice a month to go to another place that isn't my home where I can look at all the chores I have to do. And I can sit down and write around other people who would hold me accountable and make me
Mhm.
sit down and write.
Yeah.
Um, and then around the same time, we started an online group with Cassie, RW, Delaney, and it's more of like a private, like just friends group, but
Mhm.
we all write fantasy, and that's been really fascinating because it's a mix of a critique group slash sit down and write, you know?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And I remember, like that's the when I met you was at the like one of those first meetings. It was like in November because we were doing it in conjunction with NaNoWriMo. And you
Yeah,
weren't, and I remember you weren't writing because you were either writing something for school or you were grading assignments. And I can't remember which you were doing. But I
sounds
remember
about
feeling really bad. I'm like, oh man, this kid
right.
having to do
I
work instead of like fun stuff.
I know, yeah. No, that sounds about right. And I
Mhm.
remember meeting you there too, and
Yeah,
you were wearing a fox skirt, which
I
is like
was.
so
Yeah.
fitting.
It's my branding. Fox is always my branding. That's it.
Yep.
It's right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Rep it the Scribbler's Den. Thank you so much.
Yeah. My hair covers it up, but
It's there. It's there. Yeah, no, and I think like just looking at like our little journey of being writer friends, like I remember that and like I came in and I don't want to say that like there were groups already established, but like you and RW already knew each other and I think maybe Mitch was there and you guys already knew Mitch. So like you guys already kind of knew each other and I just walked in like as this complete newbie. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go sit at the end of the table. And so I sat like on the far
yeah.
um but then now we're here and it's just it's been absolutely brilliant like getting to know you more and like just hold like you hold me accountable for a lot of things too. So it's a cool journey when you start meeting your writer friends and then you look back and you're like, how did we even meet?
Right. And it's like,
Yeah.
how have we not known each other our entire
Yeah.
lives? You
Yeah,
know, it
honestly.
feels like it's been eons and you're just such a natural part of my
Mhm.
life. And I
Yeah.
really I keep thinking about how in a year or so Nate and I are gonna be moving and I'm like, how am I gonna cope with that?
That's why I have summer vacations and I get to visit my friends.
Yes.
So I will come to you. Trust me, I love to travel. Um, so how has, finding developing your writing community filtered into other aspects of your life? Like how do you see it influence either other groups you're part of or other hobbies?
Um, I think the biggest thing for me is other than, trying to take back my writing life
Mhm.
since graduating, I've also been very heavily focused on my mental health. My mental health has always been a struggle for me. I've had panic attacks since I was about 9 years old. As I'm learning, I've gone through some traumatic things that really have just impacted me. That's made me very fearful, made it really hard for me to build relationships with people, made me have really, really bad major depressive disorder. Um, and I think that's part of why I've always struggled with writing consistently. And the biggest thing I've been finding in our writing groups is that I am not the only person who struggles with these things, but also you guys have shown me so much love and care and just like this sense of gentleness that it's really it's changed how I trust people, I think. And I know like we weren't expecting to get this
Oh my
deep and
God, no.
emotional.
I might
I
cry. I might
know.
cry.
But that really is um I've been on a journey, and
Yeah.
that sounds so cliche, but that's the truth of it is, for like the last year and a half, I've just been trying to figure out some things about my past and what I've been through and why I am the way that I am. And you guys have been so patient and understanding and helping me to um, understand some of these things too, because I feel like a big thing that brings us together is we may not have gone through the same things, but we definitely all feel similar
Yeah.
emotions, and we help each other remind. My thing is like you guys help me remind myself not to be too hard on myself and how to take care of myself because I'm terrible about that sort of thing. Um,
It
and
is. It's hard to do on your own, but like you need somebody else to tell you, like, no, you need to go take a nap.
yeah, yeah, and it's literally
Yeah.
the same thing with writing, like what we were talking about
Mm.
earlier. Like I needed that piece, and
Yeah.
it's just been huge for me, to have this little friend group that I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
And then other than that, of course, there's crochet, but
Which like I love when you show up to one of our Writers Guild meetings and you just have like a bag of yarn and that's all you do. And there was no writing happening, but you're just there and you'll like chime in on conversations. But
Mhm.
it's so fun to just watch you. And I don't know, like to speak on what you're saying about our group, I think that our group is very authentic
Yes.
and that allows us to be vulnerable with each other
Oh yeah.
because like you said, like we haven't experienced the same things, but we've all had similar feelings. Um,
Mhm.
so when somebody says something, we're all just like, oh my gosh, like, okay, tell me about that. And then like we start talking. Um, and I know for me, like I have never had to be anybody but myself when I go to those meetings, and that is so refreshing.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm just like, this is the community that I always wanted. And so like I see a therapist. And when I first started going, she's like, so what kind of friend groups do you have? And I'm like, none. And now when I see her, she's like, so what's happening with all your friends? And I fill her in like on our group and I have some other groups and things like that now. And she's like, think back to just 6 years ago when you didn't have anybody. I'm like, all right, I don't want to hear it from you. Um, but it has, like, it is really, you say you're figuring things out. I'm 45 and I'm still figuring things out.
Oh,
And
it's a life journey. I don't
yeah,
expect it to end. It's just,
yeah.
but I was in the same place. There was a
Mhm.
point in my life where I was essentially nonverbal. I just did not talk to anyone, not even like parents. Like it was just,
Wow.
I didn't speak. And so I did not have friends for a very long time. And I think being part of the writing groups that I was in, starting in college, really helped with that.
Mhm.
And obviously, becoming a teacher really, really shoved me out of
Yes.
that. Um, but you guys have just absolutely changed my life for the better,
Same.
And I tell you guys all the time, you're a big part of my heart. Everybody thinks about that one friend group they have, but this, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is it. This is our friend group. And we just happen to also share these interests of writing
Yeah.
and crochet and all types of creative things, if we're
Mhm.
honest. And
Yeah.
we help each other through all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the other week, we had a crochet party
Hmm.
and we painted mugs. Like it was amazing. It was so much fun. And we talked about writing, but we were totally doing other things.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
it was a fantastic night. And I hope we do it again.
I'm already planning a Valentine's themed
Oh,
one.
good. Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, and so you're involved, like you mentioned before, the online community as well as in person. How does each community kind of meet different needs for you? And what are the overall pluses or negatives do you feel of online versus in-person groups?
I really like in-person groups because it gets me out of the house,
Mm,
and I'm terrible about that. On a day off, I will not leave.
yeah, it's
Um,
rough.
yeah. And I think going someplace other than your home, for me personally, it really helps me to actually get in the mood to write.
Mm,
Because like I said before, I'm not looking at everything I have to do. I'm not distracted by my cats. I'm not, in my cozy spot, gearing up to
You very
watch some
adorable cats.
Netflix.
I'm going to interject. Adorable cats. So sweet.
Um, and then yeah, no, it for me being in person helps a lot because and there's just something different about it,
Yeah.
when you're able to
There's an
have a
energy to it.
yeah, like the face-to-face conversations they feel I don't want to say better because that's not necessarily the right word, but it's different.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if like that's almost like a side effect of the COVID lockdown because we were just getting into like having like Zoom and FaceTime and all of those abilities. So
Yeah.
people used them when they had to, and then we went into lockdown and it was like, this is it. This is all you have. And now
Yeah.
we're like, oh my God, please don't put me on the screen. I'd rather just talk to you in person. Um, so I like sometimes I wonder if that's just a side effect of what we all experienced.
I definitely feel that way.
Yeah.
The first classes I started teaching ever were online on
Oh, I'm so
Zoom.
sorry.
Yeah, it was baptism by fire.
Yep.
And I hated it. Like I understood the need.
Mm,
It did not work for an English class.
no, it's
And
really hard to do. I mean, as somebody, I had to do it with high schoolers. Um, so,
yeah, and I mean, I'm grateful that I went into the direction of adult education because I feel like
mhm.
there's different nuances that can make
Yes.
that easier. Um, but even then, I was so sick of it, and
Mm,
I really do. I am the type of person where, I'm not gonna call you. I'm gonna show up at your house.
yeah. Yeah. No phone calls. Like text me or show up. Like those are your two options. Do not call.
Right. Yeah. But with our online group, I am forever grateful for that too, because it does have its benefits. The number one thing being that we're able to involve our friend who doesn't live
Mm,
locally. She lives in a whole nother state, and that's really important for us because, like I said before, she didn't have a writing
yeah.
community around her. It was not something that was very popular in her area. Um, and it was actually she came up with the idea. She was like, let's just start something small. And the nice thing about that group is that we can do it on a late night and
Yeah.
just sit around with each other on Zoom and be in our pajamas and roll over and go to bed when it's done.
Yes.
It's very comfortable, very laid back. It makes it a little bit easier to fit into our schedules.
Yeah, it does.
Um, and then the thing I like about that group is it's not necessarily just for critiques either, like with the guild. Um,
Mhm.
and that I know that might be one of your other questions, but I think having the variety
Yeah.
helps a lot to keep things consistent.
It does. And there's just different needs because like I mean, I've got like the writing guild and then I also have like a smaller online group of like the people I've been writing with for years and we have never lived together. So like I have a person in Los Angeles, a person in Seattle, a person in Canada. Um up in Vancouver. And so I get to see them. We try to meet every week, but sometimes one of us doesn't make it or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and it's nice to have that. And that's like a very, I don't want to say specialized, but it's like we know each other and our writings a little bit more intimately than like when I just go to the guild meeting. Like I know like three people, like we're pretty close. And then there's everybody else who's there who's really cool, but I haven't developed those relationships with.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I agree. Like I think you should have variety is the spice of life. Like find lots of groups.
Right.
Yeah. And actually in 2 weeks I'm going on a writing retreat somewhere in the
Ooh.
middle of Pennsylvania. I can't even remember the name of the town, but I know absolutely nobody who's going. And it came up like on my Instagram and I'm like, this looks really cool. I can meet new people. I deserve a vacation. And so I signed up.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so excited for
Yeah, I'm
you.
gonna make new friends in 2 weeks. Um,
That is
they're gonna replace you
fantastic.
guys. It'll be great. No, no, but yeah. Um, So yeah, I just to confirm, I agree with everything you're saying. I feel like having multiple groups that you can go to for specific things
Hmm.
is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the logistics of it too, it
Yes.
just it makes sense and it's helpful to have something that's online because it's laid back in its own way. It has its own
Mhm.
benefits. And then
Yeah.
you do still need to leave the house sometimes and go see somebody and be able to hug them.
Hmm. Yes. Yes, you do. Agreed. I need so many hugs every day. So, which by the way, you give great hugs, or W gives great hugs. Mitch and Andrew, like off the chart huggers. They're
Yes.
so good.
They crack
Um,
your back when you hug them. That's the
yeah, it's like
best
the best
part.
thing. I'm just like they'll hug me and I'm like, just don't let go. I'm gonna
Yeah.
end up here now. Um, and Delaney is also a great hugger, but
Oh yeah.
I lost my balance one of the times that she was hugging me, and so now we it's just the running joke is that she's trying to kill me. If you watch this, Delaney, we got you. Yeah. Like speaking about hugging and just all these different things, and we've already touched on this a little bit more, but if we could go slightly deeper, how does having such a strong community really help with like the mental and emotional aspects, specifically of writing?
So, a running joke in our online group, and I'm pretty sure we've all talked about this in person too, but is that we keep hurting ourselves through writing,
Yes.
that it is a painful process, and for
Yeah.
some reason we keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
Because everybody always talks about this idea of killing your darlings, and there's always obviously the process of revision and how awful that can be.
Yeah. The emotional
Um,
trauma that we put our characters through, it's peace.
yes, all of it. The whole thing is a very long process, and
Mhm.
it's exhausting and it's emotional. And um, people tend to write from the heart. They tend
Yeah.
to, even if they're writing fiction, they're writing things that they've probably experienced, or they're writing themes that come from their own lives. And just every, all of that really compounds into sometimes you crash and burn and you have breakdowns and you want so badly to give up. And I know I've been through it. I know every single one of
Yeah.
us have been through it in our writing
Oh,
group.
we
And
have.
oh, yeah. And it's first off, it's just nice to know that we all do the same thing and we all worry about the same things. And we all have we've all had these same experiences. There's like a weird comfort in that. And then on top of that, we're able to help each other through it with actual sound advice. We're not just telling each other to suck it up. We're usually like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. You're gonna do it anyways, but it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like we each have our own way of doing that, like giving that advice. And so,
Mhm.
you know, if somebody starts to like get a little bit upset or whatever, like one of us will come in, and if it doesn't work, like that person just kind of like backs off, and then other people come in with their strategies.
Yeah, we tag team for
Yeah.
sure.
And before we're done, there's like five different methods out there on the table. So it's not, like you said, it's not just like suck it up. We might start there, but then if that doesn't work, then we just shift and we're like, okay, all right, more gentle approach.
Right, right. And I think
Yeah.
we do all understand that this is just how it is to be a writer,
Mhm.
you know? Um, I think particularly about one of our friends who has been revising her novel recently, and the ending she kept getting stuck on. And I mean that happens to the best of us. The
Mhm.
endings are one of the worst things to write. And I just remember her texting us and being like, "Why am I even doing this?" Um, and it just, our heart goes out to her,
Mhm.
and we're all telling her, like, it's a good book. It really is. You just have to revise it. This is just what it is to be a writer, and trying to help her through it. And
Yeah. And a reminder here of all the things that we love about that piece and the characters and the world, like everything. Yeah.
yes, because it has beautiful, beautiful elements to it.
It's so good, guys. Um, Wait till
Um,
she starts querying.
seriously, because there's just so much to love about it.
Hmm.
Um, but we all have that one scene that just
Eludes
drives
us.
us crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
Yeah. And I think on the flip side of that, it's also a great place to celebrate all the happy parts of writing, like those happy emotions that sometimes we don't acknowledge as much. Like I remember last spring, I finished my revision, which I had spent almost 5 years on. And I was like, guys, I finished, like, we're going out to dinner. And so we all met
Yeah,
at dinner. Um, and that's what we did. We just ate.
that was so much fun. I was just thinking about that too, because I was like, dang, I could get a Pizookie right now.
Yeah, yeah, that I could go for that. I've been okay, so I'm not really craving a Pizookie, but I've been craving like a nice glass of Prosecco for a while. And I have a bottle in my fridge, but I'm saving it
Okay.
for hopefully something good that will happen this month. So
Fingers crossed.
fingers
Yeah,
crossed, I get good news this month, guys. Um, and I'm just like, I won't let myself buy another one because I'm like, you have one in the house. So
true. Yeah, I get that.
yeah, that's me being frugal. But we do celebrate, and we'll send things out like, just as a
Mhm.
text message, like I just did this or I just wrote 100 words, and we all pop on and we're like, yeah, awesome. Um,
Right.
so I think that's important too. It's like obviously to get us through those tough mental times, but also to just have people who celebrate and are like, oh my God, 100 words, like we should break out the Prosecco because this is big
Right.
for this person.
But that's exactly it. And that's something about our friend group is we are so good about hyping each other up,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter how small we might think it is. It
yeah,
is the biggest thing to our friends. And I think that really helps to teach us how to celebrate ourselves too,
yes.
because I know that's something I always struggled with, but
I think we all struggle with it. We're like, why would I celebrate myself?
right.
Yeah,
It's so hard to do, but
yes,
when you have, five, six people popping on a group chat to tell you that you did a fantastic job just by sitting at the writing group and writing for a couple hours, that feels
yeah,
really good. And you start to tell yourself, oh yeah, yeah, I did do pretty good, didn't I?
yeah. We just got to flip that narrative. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your best advice, like for people who are looking to either find their community or to join a writing community?
So I think it's really important to be patient with yourself while you're looking for your community because you're gonna have to find people that you gel really well with.
Mm,
And that, that feels like a rare thing. It feels like it happens once in a blue moon. Um, but you have to be open-minded to the people around you and open to building those relationships. Um, I think in addition to that, like we were talking about earlier, having more variety really tends
yeah,
to help. Um, I really contribute a lot of the success to our writing group as you don't have to show up and write. You're not going to show up and get critiqued or have to
mhm,
critique somebody else's work. It's different every time. And you can fit whatever need you have at the
yeah,
moment. And like with our online writing group, there's been nights where we've all logged on and we're all like zombies. We're
yep,
exhausted from the week and we just sit there and talk. There's been other times where we plan to write to a prompt, or other times where we, like the next one we're going to do, I gave them a 6,000 word document, right? And it's just notes. It's not
yeah,
even a story or chapter or anything. It's just
no.
notes.
Oh,
And
and then
they're
you're
going
gonna
to
get
read
feedback
it.
on it. That's so cool.
hmm So
Yeah,
it's like the variety in it. I really think that that contributes to us building relationships better and being able to be close with each other because we do more than just write. We actually
yeah,
focus on the friendships. Um, but also it helps with the longevity of these writing groups too.
yeah. Yeah, and I think developing those friendships also, I mean, to go back to like we talked about vulnerability earlier, but
hmm
writing in its own way is making ourselves be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And I have had, so many people that like sometimes I'll start to work with them as clients for the Scribblers Den, and they're like, I never shared this with anybody. And I'm like, okay, like I
Oh,
get it. I have been there. I remember that 8 years ago, 10 years ago when I first started sharing stuff and I was petrified. Um, but developing those relationships makes it easier and easier to keep sharing.
it does, yeah. And I remember being there too. Like I did not want anybody to read my work for the
Nope.
longest time. And you gotta build as you gotta build up a thick skin to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's helpful to do that when you're around people that you do trust and you do have that relationship with. And
Hmm.
a lot of it is vulnerable. Like I said before,
Yeah.
even if you're not writing what your life story is, you can usually tell that some aspects of whatever story people are working on comes from the heart. It comes from something that they've lived through.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to admit.
It is. It is. It is rough. I know when I look back over my past manuscripts, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's what I was going through then.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. I was really struggling with this thing. And then like my characters are just living that. So it's just like a little history of my mental health.
Yeah, it
So
happens. And
yes.
I honestly, I feel like the best stories come from that place of truth.
Yeah.
For
Agreed.
me anyways, like there's just a sort of satisfaction in the honesty of those types of stories, but it is also extremely hard. That is something I never personally wanted to get into. I never wanted people to know what my life story was.
Mhm.
And even just me talking about it on here a little bit, that was crazy for me.
Yeah.
But
So
I have
practical.
started to add I have started to add more to my stories, you know, and I'm realizing that it's making me a better writer. It's making the stories really come to life.
And in the long run, like with readers, if you do whether you self-publish or traditional publishing, like nobody's going to actually know. And that's
Right.
always what I have to tell myself. I'm like, no one's actually going to know unless I tell them
Right,
that
exactly.
this is what's happening.
They don't.
Right.
No. I think because we're friends, we can kind of guess when
Hmm.
something is going on, when there's more to a story than
Yeah.
what we're seeing on the page. Um, but that's because we have known each other for so long and we do have that relationship.
Yes.
When you do publish it and you have a complete stranger reading it, they're probably just thinking, oh, this person really has a good understanding of humans.
Yeah. I'm like, they're so creative. I loved what they did with this. And meanwhile, you're like, yeah, this happened on July
Right.
10th of 2005. And that's all the details. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So and this is like a perfect shift into your writing process. Like when did you really start to realize that you just enjoyed writing and embracing it as part of who you were?
So I actually started writing pretty young. Um,
Mm,
I know when I was a kid, I had like a little journal and I would write kid things in the journal. Um, and then around the time I was 11, I met this girl. Um, she was kind of like a friend of me. Like,
okay.
like she, yeah, she wasn't really a friend, but I hung out with her a lot. And there were times she was really nice to me, and then times where she was a complete bully.
Hmm.
And I still hung out with her constantly.
I mean, it sounds like that's like I feel like that's just a typical middle grade thing. We
Yeah,
pick bad friends in middle grade.
it's pretty par for the
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like everybody has at least one experience like that. But she wrote poetry and she went through a lot of really hard things in life that
Mm.
she was writing her poetry about, and she got me into it. Um, and eventually that evolved into me writing stories. Sometimes she and I wrote stories together. We're like, yeah, that was interesting. I had other friends at the time who would either read our stories and like go crazy over them, and that was
Mhm.
really motivating. Or they would also start writing because of that as well.
That's so
And
cool.
so, yeah, so like in middle school, I had like this little group of, I guess, another writing community where
Yeah, you
we
started a writing
all,
cult in middle school. Well done.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were all exploring um the idea of being writers from a young age, figuring it out. And granted, I don't think anybody else really kept up with it or took it as serious as I did,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of interesting because I mean, you know, as you grow up, people drift away from you and you
Right.
stop hanging out with each other, stop keeping in contact. But I never really stopped writing. It became who I am. My grandma can tell you, she says she has memories of me where I'm sitting on her living room floor and I'm just filling up notebooks after
Uh,
notebook. Yeah,
do you
like
still have any of them?
I don't, and I'm
Oh,
kind of grateful for that because I do not want to read any of it.
I'm not grateful. I want to read it. I love like every now and then I'll find something. I actually have like a little box with like not everything, but a whole bunch of things that I wrote like as a tween and a teen, and I'm afraid
Oh.
to go look at them, but I still have them. I have them.
No, I'm pretty sure I threw those out when I moved out of my parents' house. Um, but no, I remember filling up a lot of notebooks. I also had a shoebox at one point,
Yeah.
random scraps of paper. And I do still remember a lot of the stories. I started writing in the time of the zombie apocalypse craze.
Yes. Excellent.
It was fun. And it still affects me today. Like I am really keen on writing a fantasy post-apocalyptic story. Like
Mhm.
it's I have to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but um yeah, no, I don't know. I think I really started to take it serious and consider myself and part of my identity as a writer when I entered college. And I knew going into the writing field, I was like, I know this is kind of a stretch. I'm not going to be able to find a career doing creative writing.
Hmm.
And I know lots of people have success with that, but I, you know, I come from a small town, and people are not particularly wealthy in this area. And I didn't even think about going to college until I was already in high school and I was, you know, faced with that. I was already
Yeah.
taking college credits at that point. Um, so I jumped into English and I was like, you know, I'll figure it out as I go. It's fine. I'm gonna do something I enjoy. I'm gonna take the classes I want to take, you
Oh, that's
know.
awesome.
Um,
Honestly, like that is like the college dream.
yeah, I mean, I was really lucky to be able to do it. I had a lot of support from
Good.
family, and I don't regret it. I really don't. I think it made me who I am today, and it did work out in the end, career-wise. I'm doing
Hmm.
just fine. I really love teaching, and um, the creative side, you know, that's it was so important for me to go through that because I do think I learned a lot about structure and organization and different techniques when it
Yeah.
comes to writing, genre, about publication, just a myriad of what I had gone to school
Mhm.
for.
Yeah, because it's so broad. Like just when I stop to think about like what publishing entails, everyone's like, you just have to write a book, and it's not.
It's not
There's
at
so
all.
many things in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes my brain hurt sometimes. I'm just like, I'm just gonna write. I don't care. Like, stop it. Leave me alone.
yeah. And I think the other thing that really helped me is at one point I had a professor who looked at me and she said, "You would make a really good editor."
Ooh.
And that was kind of world changing for me. You
Yeah.
know, first off, I was complimented and I was like, oh.
Yeah. That is a compliment because that is a very specific skill. Yeah.
And I feel like it came on to me very naturally. I really did enjoy helping other people figure out how to better their writing.
Hmm.
And from there, I went on to do some freelance editing on the side. You know, I was um, helping community members get their books together
Yeah.
publish poetry. I was helping them learn the publication process. And it was cool because it helped me become a better writer in that sense. Like,
Mhm.
I was when you critique other people's work, you learn a lot of what you
So
can do
much.
that,
Yeah.
and then you also learn like what doesn't work out so well.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
it's just very eye-opening, and that became a really big part of my writing journey too.
Yeah.
And now I'm here where I'm really just focused on my own writing. I stopped the whole editing thing, and I'm still really involved in reading other people's pieces, but
Mhm.
for me, it's really just about developing my own stories and learning how to have fun with them again.
I love that. So I love like collecting writing methods from people because I always learn something new and incorporate just kind of like you said. So how do you like to write? Are you a planner? Do you just sit down and go? What does your process look like?
I feel like my process is all over the place and it's not really like one or the other. Um, I really, for me, it starts with an image. I'm a very
Okay.
visual person, and I really like creating scenes that are cinematic.
Hmm.
And so, um,
So you can
I
like see like if you when you imagine a scene, like you've seen everything in your head and you're like, okay, I just have to now I have to get this on the page.
yes.
Okay,
And usually
beautiful.
it doesn't even start with a story or figuring out why this scene exists, but it's
Hmm.
just a very visual scene. Like
That's so
one
cool.
story I was working on, I just had this idea of a woman laying on a black sand beach and like something terrible had happened recently and that's all I knew.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
turned it turned into this story where she ends up being possessed by a god, and she ends up going down the river because that's the point where she is actually able to tear herself free from the god.
Okay.
So I can't explain it or why I'm like this, but I just know that I start out with an image, it gets in my head, I can't let it go,
Mhm.
and I have to build a story around
Around
it.
it. That
Um,
actually makes a lot of sense to me. I don't necessarily come up with an image on my own, but I will see a picture. And I'm like, I need to know what this person's story is, and then I just build out from there.
yeah, that that's
Yeah, so
exactly
similar. I'm just not creating the
it.
scene in my head.
Um, and I think for me, the most fun I have in writing is when I get to play with the words on the page
Mm.
so that it creates a really cinematic scene and the wordplay is just, it's there,
Yeah,
like
I
it's
love
very,
when authors do that.
yeah, that's a lot of fun for me. Vocabulary, inserting,
Yes, yes.
just making it all work together. I think that's probably also why I enjoy teaching is because I enjoy the sentence structure and
Mm.
grammar and experimenting with how words look on the page.
Yeah,
That's fun for me. And I think those two things, building an image and playing around with words on the page, really come together to create whatever story I'm working on. And usually I'll have a good idea before I start in my head where okay, I know what needs to happen in this scene.
mhm.
I'll start writing and I'll just dump it all out. I've gotten very good at that in like the past year or two where I'm just putting it all out on the page and I'm not
Yeah.
worried about what it looks like until later. And
Yeah,
then
because you
I'll
got to
go,
get it out there. If you don't have it out there, you can't do the fun bit, which is the editing.
right, right. You got to put the clay down
Yeah.
first before you can start to mold it.
Yep.
And then that's when I comb through it. I'll have other people read it, and a lot of
Mhm.
times their ideas contribute to it, and I just go from there.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. I feel like we have somewhat similar ideas like on how the writing process starts. So yeah, yeah. I love it. All right. Are you ready for your lightning round questions?
Yes.
Woohoo. All right. So we've talked about like we had a crochet parties, you crochet. What is the longest that you've ever spent on a crochet project?
Oh, 3 years.
What did you make?
I made a Grafgan, which is an Afghan that has an image into it,
You told us
like out
about
of
this.
the deer blanket.
Yes, that you
I
gave to your
nicknamed it the
parents, right?
Beast. Yeah, my grandparents, yeah.
Okay, there you go. To your grandparents. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a picture of two deer. It's only two colors, dark gray and light gray.
Oh my gosh.
And I started it when I first started my master's program, and I didn't finish it until like a year after that. And that last few months, I was just rushing. I was crocheting so much every night. And I was so over it. And the thing is, I love Grafgans. I
Yeah.
absolutely adore them.
They sound amazing. You know my crochet skills. I don't think I could ever do that because we have determined I don't count when I crochet. I just need, yeah.
Well, I think Grafgans, if you do corner to corner, is a little bit easier. Like
Yeah, you're
technically,
using words I don't even know, corner to corner. Like, I don't know what you're
I'll
talking about.
teach you. I'll teach you, I promise.
All right.
Um, but
I'm
yeah,
gonna
no,
hold you to that because I do want to learn.
that was just crazy for me. It was too much. I don't know if I'll do another one.
No, I mean, that is a lot of dedication on a project, especially like you're in school, you're doing all these other things, and that you did it while you were doing your master's.
hmm
Yeah, and like master, that's a lot of work. As someone who's
Yeah.
also gotten their master's, like, how? That's impressive. So 3 years actually sounds pretty reasonable. Um, all right, question number two. What is your go-to comfort show or movie?
Um,
Had a bad day, what are you putting on the TV that you can just
so it's so funny because I feel like I don't really watch a lot of things. I'm the person who puts something on in the background so I can
okay.
scroll on my phone. And for me, it's going to be either like something on the History Channel, TLC,
Mhm.
or National Geographic.
Ooh,
I know it's so like
that sounds very
boring.
soothing though. Like especially the National Geographic.
That's what it is. It's like
Yeah.
I just want to hear people's voices in the background talking about something that maybe I can pick up on every other sentence,
Yes,
you
yeah, that you
know?
don't need to like actually be paying attention to for plot or character. It's
Right.
like, oh, watch this barn owl fly through the air, and then all of a sudden they're like, and then the tiger stalks through the trees. So
Exactly.
and you're like, when did we switch like ecosystems? I don't know what's happening. Um,
Right.
yeah. No, I do that same thing with background noise sometimes. I'll watch something that I previously watched. I've gotten really into the Great British Sewing Bee recently. Um,
Oh, I need to check that out still.
yeah, it's so good. And the Great Pottery Throwdown, which I've seen all of the Great Pottery Throwdown. So I will just go back and I'll put that on because that show is just so comforting for me. And I'm like, this is nice. It's quiet, it's gentle. I can see some really cool arts and crafts being made, and I can just zone out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it is like you don't have to think
Yeah.
about what's happening.
Yeah. And I think that, that just goes back to that mental and emotional health aspect is some days you just need just that tiniest bit of distraction so you can dissociate from
Especially when
whatever.
you're a teacher and you've spent all day being overstimulated.
Yeah. And getting asked 5,000 questions and it's like the same question over and over again.
Ugh.
The people who are like right next to each other and you answered it. And then they're like, so did you want me to put my name on this? I'm like, yes. Yes. Yes, I did.
Oh
Oh,
no, I
it's
remember
wild.
that.
Yeah, you get it. Like teaching is great. Like it's fantastic, and I love it with all of my heart. But it is so overstimulating.
hmm
You're not wrong
Yeah,
at all.
th this week was just like that for me.
Yeah.
And I teach adults. That's the other thing. I still have to answer questions like that.
One day they're all gonna get it, and they won't need us anymore. And we're gonna
True.
open that bottle of prosecco and get a Pizookie and be so happy.
Right.
Honestly, I'm like, this is not a bad thing. Why am I? All
It's
right,
not. It's a
it's
wonderful
not.
thing.
No. All right. Your third question is, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Um, I feel like it used to be to be able to fly once upon a time. Like I just want to be able to get to places where I need to be immediately and not, and I have fun doing it too, but um I think nowadays I really just wish I could like freeze time or have five of me so that I can get more done.
Yeah. So, okay, so if you're freezing time, are you just freezing everything around you and then like you can still move through like you could go grocery shopping and like freeze the grocery store so that nobody's going to get in your way.
That would be nice.
And then you could like put yourself in like the front of the line and then unfreeze it and she could like check you out.
That actually would be fantastic. Yeah.
That would be a solid. Or just like traffic. Be like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Like,
That was my next thought. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not driving through all these cars.
right. Yeah. Like, but then I wonder, like, if you had two cars that were like right next to each other, like, how would you get around them? So I'm overthinking this. I'm sorry. But I still
No,
like
it's
this idea
okay.
of just freezing things. I think it's good. I think it's good. Smart. All right. Question number 4. What is your favorite soup?
Tomato. But
Ooh,
that's because I can make it from
yeah.
scratch. Like I'll roast my own
You.
tomatoes and garlic and onions and I blend it
That's
all up.
fascinating.
Yes. And it's definitely it's so much better than buying it canned.
Do
I
you
will
put
still buy it canned,
do you put
but
anything in it like I know some people do like tomato and basil soup.
yep. I used to
Okay.
actually have a basil plant, so I would do fresh
Ooh,
basil,
yeah.
cream, cheese. I used to have like this recipe for little mini um grilled cheese croutons. That was really good.
You need to find that recipe. This is
I
what you
do.
need to serve
It's
these at your next crochet party. You have until February, McKayla.
Yeah, I
Oh,
I grew up with tomato soup because my grandparents had a really big hand in taking care of me,
mhm.
and my that was just one food that my grandma always was eating, like after school snack, tomato soup.
Yeah. No, that is solid. Like I ate so much of it growing up. And it, like with a grilled cheese sandwich, it was fantastic. And I remember when
Oh
I was
yeah.
in college, like every other week we'd have a grilled like a tomato soup day. And me and my friend would go in, we'd get our bowl of soup, and then we both come back out with like 10 grilled cheese sandwiches. And that's how we like that we did not use spoons, we did not eat our soup, we dunked every single and if we like still had soup left, we would go get another sandwich. Um, not healthy, but so good.
That sounds wonderful, actually.
Yes. Yeah. We probably should have just like split a bowl of soup.
Yeah. If I ever
Mhm.
do that, I get like a little, like one of those little ramekins and use
Yeah,
that
yeah,
as a
yeah.
bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have those at my college. We got the big honkin' bowls, and so we're like, we gotta get more sandwiches, because our non-developed prefrontal lobes were like, that's the only solution.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. Um, so Scribblers, you can find links to McKayla's webpage do you have a webpage? Just socials.
Just socials.
Socials down below. You can give her a follow on Instagram, all that kind of stuff, Facebook. And shout out with any questions you have if you want to put those down there, and one of us will probably answer them.
Yep.
But it has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today, and I'm excited to get to see you again in person.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been super fun. All right, Scribblers, you know the drill. I need you to hit the like button. I need you to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye. Happy writing.